Manchester United agree deal with Matthijs de Ligt over transfer. United also set to submit a bid for left-back Miguel Gutierrez, and also all of your latest news on Manuel Ugarte, Joshua Zirkzee, Marcus Rashford, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, plus also a shock twist in Manchester United's pursuit of Jean-Clair Todibo. These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this morning's live show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 400 likes on this morning's show. And if this is your first time watching, please subscribe to the channel. I'm live every single day at 8:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. UK time. And I also do a video at 1 p.m. with all of the latest news. Only 50% of people who watch our shows are subscribed. So if you're one of those people who isn't subscribed, please do get involved. It's completely free content. It doesn't cost you any money to subscribe. So please go and do that now. We're only 2 subscribers away from 24,300. So please go and do that. And let's see if we can hit that next target. Okay. Right then, let's get straight on into this then, shall we? And let's start the show off by talking about Jean-Clair Todibo, because there has been a bit of a twist in the pursuit. So anybody who's unaware, obviously Manchester United's number one target in the centre-back position this summer was Jean-Clair Todibo. He was the top priority. He was the player we all thought we were going to be getting. And unfortunately, because of this stupid rule that UEFA have put in, which meant that Man United weren't allowed to buy him, we've been kind of left scratching our heads. As it stands, Manchester United and Ineos are apparently trying to bring legal action against UEFA to try and overturn this decision. They think the decision is unfair and they're trying to find a solution. But obviously, he is still available on the market, and there are other clubs that are circling for his signature. And a big bit of news broke this morning from Florian Plettenberg, the German Sky Sports News journalist, very reliable. And he is reporting that West Ham have had a bid of 35 million euros rejected for Jean-Clair Todibo. He says a new offer is possible as West Ham have not yet left the race for the former top target of Manchester United. So 35 million euros is about 30 million pounds, I think. Let me check. Yeah, it's just under 30 million pounds. Apparently, Jean-Clair Todibo's asking price is about 40 million. And the thing that I find really stupid about this whole UEFA thing, right? So West Ham have bid 35 million euros, right? That's been rejected. Ineos want 40 million for Jean-Clair Todibo. That's his market value. Why can't Manchester United pay 40 million pounds for Jean-Clair Todibo? I understand the rule if it's like, you know, Man United were going to buy him for 1 million euros, you know, like if they were going to do some sneaky deal that wasn't his actual market value. But the fact that West Ham have bid 30 million pounds, it kind of shows what his value is. That bid was rejected. They want more money than that. Okay, fine. How much do they want? They want 40 million. Like, that's the bit that I don't understand. And that's what doesn't really make sense with this rule. I understand why the rule was brought in, but I don't think it's being implemented correctly. And hopefully this is what Ineos will argue with UEFA. You know, they'll say, oh, we've just had a bid of 35 million euros. We've rejected that. We want 40 million pounds. Manchester United are willing to pay 40 million pounds. Why does it matter that we own them as well? Like, it doesn't. I can understand it in the example of last season where Red Bull Salzburg sold Benjamin Sesko to Red Bull Leipzig, right? Obviously, they're both owned by the same people, the Red Bull Group. They sold him for 20 million euros when other clubs were bidding 40, 50 million euros. And I can understand why that is against the rules and why that's stupid. But in this exact example, like, if Man United are willing to pay what the going rate is for him, why can't we sign him? It's completely stupid. And I actually think that this West Ham bid is actually going to help us. I think it's going to allow us to actually maybe get this deal over the line. Obviously, it's still very, very early days and lots of different things can happen. But my understanding is that Manchester United are still trying to sign Jean-Clair Todibo. He wants to come to Manchester United. He apparently had already agreed personal terms. He'd agreed to, you know, he wants to come. And Ineos want to sell him to Manchester United. So at the moment, I think obviously it's one to keep an eye on. It's a little bit frustrating because I think if we got Jean-Clair Todibo and Matthijs de Ligt, that would be an unbelievable transfer window. Our defence would go from kind of rock bottom to the very, very top. So hopefully Ineos, you know, hopefully these lawyers that Ineos are paying do their jobs and get us over the line here. Because I think it would be really, really disappointing to miss out on Matthijs de Ligt, especially just for this stupid UEFA rule. It makes no sense. Let me know if you agree with what I'm saying, though. Like, do you think I'm right in this situation? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think the rules need to change? Like, let me know what you think. Let me know. I think it's stupid. I really, really do. But obviously the rules are there. We don't want to break the rules. Just a reminder as well, right? This rule only came in last year. So it's not like it's been around for years and years and years. It came in 2023. The reason this rule came in was because of the Benjamin Sesko deal. It was because UEFA looked at the transfer and said, that's not his market value. Benjamin Sesko was worth way more than 20 million euros, okay? So I understand why the rule came in, just to be clear, but I just think how it's been implemented, how it's being policed is incorrect, and it needs to be looked at a little bit more clearly. Ian says, if it's his fair market value, then why can't we sign him? Exactly, mate. Me and you are saying exactly the same thing. It makes zero sense. It makes zero logic. So yeah, hopefully they sort it out. We've got over 500 people watching the show already this morning, which is absolutely amazing. If everyone could do me a small favour and smash a like, I've set a likes target of 400 likes for this morning's show. If everybody who's watching the video right now hits the like button, we will hit that target, which would be absolutely amazing. And we are now only one subscriber away from the next target, which is 25,300. So if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe. It's completely free content. It doesn't cost any money to subscribe. Go and get involved. Yeah, great to have you on the show this morning. Okay, let's move on to the next story then. Let's keep things rolling on the show today. Make sure to get your comments in and stuff as well. Let me know your thoughts on Jean-Clair Todibo. Let me know your thoughts on how Ineos are doing so far. I'd love to see what everyone is saying. Keeping on the topics of centre-backs, I promised you some news on Harry Maguire, so I will bring that to you now. Apparently, Manchester United are actively looking to sell Harry Maguire this summer. He's got 1 year left of his contract. He's obviously on quite high wages at Manchester United, around £200,000 a week. Apparently, Manchester United are not interested in giving him a new deal, which I think is the correct decision. Harry Maguire is now 31. He'll be 32 by the time his current deal expires. There are some clubs that are supposedly circling for his interested in him. Apparently, there's some Italian clubs. Apparently, West Ham still have an interest in him. Maybe West Ham come back in for him now that their bid for Todibo has been rejected. I'll obviously keep you updated on that one as and when we get more news. But it'll be interesting to see what people in this community think about Maguire. Would you keep Maguire for another season? Or do you think we should move him on? My personal preference would be that we sell Maguire, we sell Lindelof, and then we keep Martinez, we keep Willy Camboala. Johnny Evans I would keep for one more season because he's on small wages and he's got experience. And then I would go and sign Matthijs de Ligt and another centre-back as well. And then obviously we know that Luke Shaw can play as a left-sided centre-back as well. So you would effectively have 6 centre-backs then, and you'd cash in on Maguire and Lindelof. Ramiz says, do you think Harry Maguire would actually want to move abroad? That's a good question. Really, really good question. I don't know. I'd like to think that these players have, aspirations to go and play in other countries, to go and experience new things, but maybe Maguire doesn't. It's impossible to tell. Obviously, Chris Smalling's out playing at Roma. Tomori's at AC Milan. There are quite a few English players. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is playing for, I think he's playing for Roma as well, isn't he? But yeah, there are quite a few players out in the Serie A, and they're all doing quite well, English players. So I don't know, if I was Harry Maguire and the opportunity came to go to Roma or to Lazio or to Napoli or someone like that, I would jump at the opportunity. But, maybe Harry Maguire's comfortable in England. Maybe his family don't want to relocate, which if that is the case, it limits our options with Maguire really, because the only clubs in the Premier League who would probably, be interested in Harry Maguire, being completely honest, is probably someone like West Ham, and maybe someone like Everton. But even then, will West Ham and Everton want to pay Harry Maguire the wages that he requires? The only thing I will say is this, though. Maguire's only got 1 year left on his contract. So last season, it was a bit more of a complicated matter because he had 2 years left. He was on big wages. The issue was no one wanted to pay him the 200 grand a week. And Maguire effectively said, I'm happy to stay at United. I'm happy to sit on the bench. I'm happy to earn 200 grand a week. Whereas at this point now, he needs to start thinking about his future because in a year's time, he won't have a club. What happens if he gets a really bad injury? What happens if, I don't know, what happens if something happens to him? Do you know what I mean? He needs to secure his future. So if I was Maguire, I would be looking for my next move now. I'd say I want a 3-4 year contract. Even if it was on lesser wages, you know that you're securing your future then. Whereas if it gets to this time next year and he's been injured all season, is anybody going to want to sign him? Probably not. So, yeah. We've got a super chat coming in from V33. Thanks for your support, mate. He says, Shaw makes me sick. He is robbing a living at Manchester United. I understand your pain, mate. I understand your pain. And I know it's frustrating. I think it's a little bit harsh. I get what you're saying. And I understand your super chat. But he's just had a bad time with it, Luke Shaw. I think to look at it in a more balanced way, I think Luke Shaw needs to be sold because of his injury problems. I don't think his injury problems are his fault. I don't think he wants to be injured. He obviously had a career-ending injury. Do you not remember? He broke his leg in that game in the Europa League many years ago, and the doctors were saying he'd probably never play football again. So we do have to remind ourselves of that. What I will say is Manchester United were the ones who were stupid enough after, Luke Shaw's missed, I think, 50% of Manchester United games since he's been at the club, right? Which is absolutely crazy. So the real blame here, in my opinion, is on Manchester United. In 2023, 1 year ago, we decided to give him a new contract, even though he'd been injured for half of the season before that. That was on us. We could have either let him go for free, cleared his wages and brought in a new left back, or we could have sold him. Those were the options that were available to Manchester United, but we decided to give him a new deal for 4 years. So that's on us. So it's easy for us to blame the player and say, oh, it's a disgrace, he's injured all the time. But Manchester United knew that he was injury prone, and they actively said, we're going to give you a new contract for 4 years. He's 28. He's going to be 32 by the time his contract expires. If he's got this bad injury problems now, what do you think the injuries are going to be like in 4 years' time? So I think we need to kind of realign our anger more towards John Murtough, Richard Arnold and the Glazers, who were stupid enough to reward Luke Shaw with a new contract after we hadn't won any trophies for years, right? They gave him the contract in April last year. We hadn't won a trophy for 6 years before that point. So it's not like we'd been successful with Luke Shaw as the left back, and he'd been injured for most of the time. So I think we need to just be careful on, slandering players. Yes, Luke Shaw is injury prone. Yes, he needs to be sold. Yes, he shouldn't be at Manchester United anymore. But is it Luke Shaw's fault that Ineos was stupid? Sorry, not Ineos. The Glazers were stupid enough to give him a 4-year contract. No, I don't think so. But I understand your frustration, mate, and I hope my response is kind of a more level-headed one. And if you disagree with me, obviously let me know and I'll have a read of the comments. But I think it's a little bit harsh to put all of the blame on Luke Shaw. He doesn't decide to be injured. He's just had a bad time of it. Loads of people saying that nobody would buy Luke Shaw. But what I'm saying, mate, is Luke Shaw's contract was expiring. So we could have just let him go for free, but we decided to give him a 4-year contract, knowing that he was going to miss half of the games. So, and you know why we did that, don't you? Because the Glazers see each player as an asset. They see them as £30 million. They looked at Luke Shaw and said, he's a £30 million asset. Whether he plays or not, they don't care, because on their books, he's worth £30 million. That's why, and I don't think Ineos will operate like that, but the Glazers were notorious for keeping players, giving them new contracts, because on their books against the debt, it was better to keep them than it was to get rid of them. Does that make sense? It's quite a complicated matter, that stuff, but effectively, because the Glazers were in so much debt, they like to have all of these assets that they could leverage the debt against, So, it's a stupid one, but it's hopefully something that Ineos can kind of resolve going forward. And we've seen that in recent weeks, They didn't give Varane a new contract. They didn't give Martial a new contract. Quite a lot of these players who probably should have been moved on are being moved on. So we have to give them time. We've got over 700 people watching live now, which is amazing. Big ups to all of you. If you could do me a quick favour and hit the like button, that would be appreciated. I've set a likes target of 400 for today's video. We should easily achieve that if everybody watching the video gives it a like now. And we're still only one subscriber away from the next milestone, which is 25,300. So if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe. I've dropped a link in the chat to do that. It doesn't cost any money. It's completely free content. So yeah, please subscribe. Let's get to 25,300. We're literally one away. So please, someone just do it so we can hit that target. Stephanie says the 4-year contract was okay, but the huge wage increase wasn't with Shaw and our players. Yeah, we'll move on from Luke Shaw because the way that the club's been run over the last decade just frustrates me, and I kind of want to put that in the past. I kind of want to focus on Ineos. I want to focus on the positives, and I think there is a lot of positives at the moment. I've kind of got a bit sidetracked with the whole Luke Shaw thing, but that's completely fine. I'm happy to read out your questions and your thoughts and all the rest of it. But so Luke Shaw aside, let's talk about a new left back, shall we? That will be a bit more positive. And let's talk about Miguel. I'm probably going to say his name wrong. Forgive me if I do. Miguel Gutierrez. Hopefully I've said that right. And the news this morning coming from Manchester Evening News is that apparently Manchester United have submitted an offer for Miguel Gutierrez. It says that Manchester United are willing to pay the asking price, which is £34 million. It says that Madrid retain 50% of his rights and a sell-on clause. And it says that apparently they have first refusal on rebuying him. It says that Gutierrez is set to be sold after Madrid agreed to accept United's bid. Dortmund, Chelsea, Liverpool and Arsenal are all keen on the player. Now, this story's kind of caught me by surprise this morning, I'll be honest, because I know a lot of people have said we need a new left back. We can't rely on Luke Shaw. But Miguel Gutierrez isn't someone we've been heavily linked to other than in the last kind of 24 hours or so. Very, very talented player, only 22 years of age, currently playing his football for Girona in La Liga. His primary position is at left back, but he can also play as a left midfielder as well. He's definitely one to watch. He's, a player for the future. I really, really like the guy. I don't know if many of you have seen him before. Obviously, Girona did very, very well this season in La Liga, and he was a real part of that team. Do I think he's worth 35 million? I'm not sure, to be completely honest with you. I think that's maybe a little bit too much. When you think that we paid, I think, about 10 million for Malacia. But at the end of the day, 35 million is not a ridiculous amount of money. And I would agree that with Luke Shaw's injury problems, we definitely do need to be looking for a new left back. Obviously, Diogo Dalot can cover at left back as well, which is food for thought. So I personally, if it was up to me, would probably be looking for a new right back because I know that Diogo Dalot can play at left back. But obviously, we'll wait and see what Manchester United do. I don't think this Miguel Gutierrez guy can play as a right back. I think he is a left back, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think it's one to keep an eye on. I think this story's come out from Spanish journalists, which can sometimes put out unreliable stories, let's say. So I wouldn't get too excited about this one just yet until kind of the big, the David Ornsteins, the Fabrizio Romanos come out with this story. I would kind of, keep yourself calm about it. But it's definitely one to keep an eye on. And apparently Manchester United are in talks for Miguel Gutierrez, with some Spanish outlets saying that apparently they're going to put in a bid of 35 million. Whether or not that will happen, who knows? Yeah, we'll wait and see. Somebody says, what does first refusal mean? So first refusal means effectively that Real Madrid can match any bid that someone else puts in. So Miguel Gutierrez was originally at Real Madrid. They sold him to Girona. And part of the deal was that if Girona then decide to sell him in the future, Real Madrid can match the offer that someone else puts in. Does that make sense? So if Man United offer 35 million, Real Madrid can offer 35 million and we'll get him because they've got first refusal, and Girona have to sell him to Real Madrid if they want to bid for him. So it effectively kind of allows them to bring him in if they want to. Okay, let's move on from that though. Let's talk a bit about Jarrad Branthwaite then. And the news this morning is that apparently Man City have entered the race to sign Jarrad Branthwaite. This is coming out from the Manchester Evening News. I'll be honest with you, I've kind of moved on from Jarrad Branthwaite. I think it's best we steer clear of him. I think he's a good centre-back, but he's not worth anywhere near £70 million plus add-ons. I think he's probably worth about 30 to 40 at the very most. Now that Man City have entered the race, I think that his price is only going to go up and up and up and up and up and up. So yeah, for me personally, I would steer clear of Jarrad Branthwaite. I don't see the point in continuing with this deal. We can't afford to be spending £70 million on a centre-back when, we're about to do this De Ligt deal for about 35 million. It makes zero sense to buy Branthwaite for 70 million. So I would probably just let Man City have him, If they want him, they can pay the 70 million because yeah, I don't think it's a very good use of our funds, to be completely honest with you. But let me know in the comment section below. Like, do you still want to see Jarrad Branthwaite at Manchester United? Let me know. Like, do you think he should be a priority signing? Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm just going to get a poll started as well, actually, really, really quickly. And I'm going to ask about this. What should the question be today? I'm just trying to think of a good question to do for today's show. Let's do this. I'll come back to that. I'm kind of, if anybody's got any good questions they want me to do as a poll, let me know in the comment section, because I'm trying to, yeah, I'm having a little think, but I can't. My brain's not quite switched on yet for the polls. Okay, so we spoke about that. Let's move on to Manuel Ugarte. So there's quite a big update on the Manuel Ugarte story. There's two parts to this update. So the first one is about his injury. A lot of people have been asking me about whether he's injured, because he looked as if he was injured in the Copa America game. I think it was 2 days ago. But Manuel Ugarte has come out and said that he is fine. It was a scary moment, but he's okay. So that's great. There's no injury for Manuel Ugarte. And his agent has also now spoken out. And he has said there are many possibilities on the table. It's almost certain that he will not stay at PSG. I am sure he will leave. I believe the situation will be resolved. And then you've got what else have we got? Yeah, so Manuel Ugarte will leave PSG. Okay, his agent has pretty much said it there. He says, I am sure he will leave. I believe the situation will be resolved. In relation to the negotiations, Manchester United are literally now just about to put in the bid. They've agreed personal terms. The player wants to come. PSG want to sell him. Everybody's in agreement here that Manuel Ugarte to Manchester United can happen. It's now just up to Manchester United to submit their official bid. So I imagine that will probably go in this week, I think. The new kit got released on Monday, I believe. Manchester United usually like to announce players around kit launches to try and generate hype, to generate clicks, classic. So yeah, this week I would say. The only kind of annoying thing with Manuel Ugarte is obviously he is away at the Copa America, which means that he wouldn't be able to start until... When's the Copa America final? Let's have a look. Because they finished top of their group. Yeah, the Copa America final is in about 2 weeks. So, yeah. And somebody told me as well that apparently Manchester United are kind of reluctant to pay his wages until he's available. Does that make sense? So, if they signed him now, they would effectively be paying his wages for the next 2 weeks, even though he's going to be at the Copa America. So, I think... it's a bit annoying. It's an annoying period where if the Euros wasn't on, I think a lot of deals would be happening, but because of the Euros and the Copa America, it's kind of slowed things down. But that's just all part of it, isn't it? Chris says, Ugarte looks good, but we will only know after 6 or 8 games of him. Yeah, of course. We've got to give him time. What else have we got people saying? Red says, when do you think Romano will do the De Ligt? Here we go. I think it will probably be in the next couple of days, to be honest, mate. We'll talk about De Ligt in a minute because there's been quite a few big updates on that. Prane says, why are United not trying to sign Calafiori? He apparently only costs 40 million for a young player is good. I mean, maybe we are, but I think, at the moment, our priority is this centre-back, a midfielder and a striker. I think, the left-back and right-backs are kind of side parts of the puzzle. And my understanding is that a left back and a right back is dependent on sales. So yeah, I think we'll try and get the centre back and the striker done first, and then look at the alternative positions. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Okay, right. Let's move on to the next story though. Let's keep things rolling on the show this morning. So in relation to Joshua Zirkzee, we've got an update for you this morning from Ben Jacobs. He is reporting that the Euros have delayed things a little bit, but it's actually benefited Manchester United. Because Zirkzee had not been called up to the Netherlands squad, then Milan might have been able to get the deal over the line. Instead, his participation in the Euros gave Manchester United a window of opportunity, and they're now in advanced talks to sign Joshua Zirkzee. These talks are all on the player's side, so Milan have already intimidated that they're prepared to pay the release clause, blah, 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 blah. Effectively, what's going on here is the player has agreed to come to Manchester United. The Manchester United have told Bologna that they're going to trigger the release clause. They're just trying to get the final deals, the final kind of details over the line. And also, apparently out of respect, he wants to wait until after the Euros, which is a bit annoying. Like, can't we just get on with it? But yeah. And I've had some people message me as well and say, like, are you not worried that we're signing a player who can't even start for the Netherlands? Weghorst is playing ahead of him. But I don't know. I think the Netherlands is a completely different club, you know? Just because Weghorst is getting picked over Zirkzee doesn't mean that he's better than him. It just means he's a different profile player. Weghorst has been coming on at the end of games to try and score, like, you know, last minute goals. Whereas I think Zirkzee is more of a player you start from the beginning. You know, he's not really an impact sub. So yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about the fact that, you know, Weghorst is playing ahead of Zirkzee. Some people are really, really upset about it, which is fine. That's, you know, that's up to you. But yeah, I'm pretty chilled out about the situation, to be honest with you. But yeah, let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Daryl says Amas isn't ready. I don't know, mate. I would like to see Harry Amas get some game time next season at left back. I think Erik ten Hag has shown his ability to bring through young talent. I know he's only 17 years of age, but Kobe Mainoo was only 18 when he was getting his debut. So there's no reason why Harry Amas should not be given some opportunities next season. And, you know, he's widely regarded as one of our best youth players. Maybe we should just focus on him. Maybe we shouldn't go and spend loads of money on a new left back. You know, maybe he should be Luke Shaw's successor. That would excite me more, to be honest, you know, than go and signing this Miguel Gutierrez guy. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Harry Amas. You know, whether he actually... Let's do a poll on Luke Shaw, shall we? Let's do this. Can we rely on Luke Shaw next season? I know a lot of people are asking about the left back. Somebody says, do you think Zirkzee will play ahead of Højlund, or do you think they'll both play together? To be honest, mate, I think it will be one or the other. I think they'll rotate, but I think if anything, that's actually good. I think it will, you know, create a bit of competition. I think one of them could be an impact sub, probably Højlund. But it just gives us different options because Zirkzee and Højlund are two very different players. So I'm not really too worried about the whole competition thing, you know? I think they're both going to complement each other in a really nice way. So yeah, that doesn't really concern me at the moment, but obviously we'll wait and see. It might become a problem, but yeah, at the moment I would say no. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Jadon Sancho really, really quickly, because there's quite a lot of news circling around Jadon Sancho about a potential exit. There are some people saying about Jadon Sancho has apparently been offered to Barcelona for £40 million, and apparently Barcelona want to do a swap deal involving Rafinha and Jadon Sancho. Now, I want you to let me know in the comment section, would you do this deal? Jadon Sancho for Rafinha? Let me know. I personally wouldn't. I don't think. Maybe I would. I don't know. What do you guys think? And big ups to Fred as well, who's just gifted 10 Daily Red Devil memberships. What an absolute legend. Make sure you say thank you to him in the chat. If you do want to get involved with the memberships and stuff, make sure you join us for the live videos. They're usually, you know, available in the live streams. We're live at 8:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. So yeah, big ups to Fred. You're an absolute legend. Thank you for all of your support, mate. I really, really do appreciate it. You're an absolute legend. So thank you very much for that. Make sure you say thank you to Fred. And yeah, make sure you join us for the live videos if you know, if you're watching this back on repeat, make sure you join us live. Let's have a look at how we're doing on our likes target quickly. We're only about 50 likes away from 400, so please go and do that if you haven't already. And we're literally just about to hit 25,300. So yeah, again, if you haven't subscribed, please go and do that. It doesn't cost any money. It's completely free. So get involved in that right now. Okay. Keeping on the topic of Jadon Sancho, so one option we have on the table is apparently Rafinha swap deal with Barcelona. I'm not sure about that, to be honest, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Apparently, he's also been offered to Arsenal for £40 million. I don't think Arsenal want him, though, being completely honest with you. I might be wrong, but at the moment, right, just to give you a very, very honest, kind of hyped up answer, Jadon Sancho is being offered out to every single club in Europe for £40 million. And most of these clubs are saying no. That's the general gist of it. Nobody's being like, yeah, we'll buy him. So think of it what you want. But at the moment, Jadon Sancho is not a player in demand, effectively. Let's do a poll on that. Let's do a poll quickly. I'm just going to set up a poll really quick. Would you do this swap? Jadon Sancho in exchange for Rafinha. Anybody watching back on repeat, you can let me know in the comment section. The question is simple. Would you do this swap deal, Jadon Sancho in exchange for Rafinha from Barcelona? Let me know your thoughts. But yeah, so he's being offered out to loads of clubs. Arsenal, Barcelona, obviously Dortmund, a couple of others as well. Apparently he's even been offered out to Liverpool, Man City and other top European clubs. You know what? I think Jadon Sancho would do really well at Arsenal. But yeah, the story this morning is apparently Arsenal have turned down the chance to sign Jadon Sancho. Like, no one wants him. They obviously are not convinced by his attitude. They're not convinced by his mentality. They're probably not convinced by his big wages. They're not, there's all these different things that are causing problems for Jadon Sancho. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Jadon Sancho, because I think Manchester United are in a real issue, really. Like, what do we do with Jadon Sancho? Let me know in the comment section. What would you do with Jadon Sancho? We know that apparently Saudi clubs are interested in him, but again, I don't think Sancho wants to go to Saudi. We're in a mess. We've given him massive wages on a big contract. Yeah, it's a complete mess. It really, really is. But yeah, get involved in the poll. Let me know your thoughts on Jadon Sancho. Tommy says Sancho has agreed to talk to Juventus, though. The problem with the Italian clubs, mate, is a lot of them want him on loan. Manchester United want the money. So we will be able to move him on, but it will just be another loan deal. And do we really want that? Like, what's the point in us loaning Jadon Sancho out for another season? It makes zero sense. Blind Monkey says Sancho did it himself with his attitude problems. The thing is, though, mate, right? We say, Sancho this, Sancho that. Sancho is chilling. He's earning 250k a week to effectively do nothing now. 250 grand a week. Let that sink in. So people saying, poor Sancho, blah, blah, blah. Sancho's laughing. He's disgraced the club. He disgraced the manager. He disgraced the fans. And he's still sat there cashing in his checks every week of 250k. And nobody wants him. Nobody wants to pay any money for him. So it's Manchester United's problem now. It's Erik ten Hag's problem now. Ineos don't want him back. Ineos will not bring him back. So, where do we go from here? What do we do? That's the problem. And it really, really is on Ineos now. So, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But I really, really hope that we find a solution. I don't want, to be talking about Jadon Sancho all transfer window. But, yeah, obviously, let me know in the comment section, guys. What would you do with Jadon Sancho? Yeah, I would just get rid of him for whatever we can now, to be honest with you. 40 million sounds great, but even if it was 30 million, I know we'd be making a massive loss on what we paid for him, but the other option is we loan him and probably pay half of his wages, and we still have to be asked about him every week in press conferences. So, yeah, for me, it's not really an option. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that one. It'll be interesting to see. Let's see what else we've got going on in the chat today. Mr. C says, Sancho for Rafinha, hell yes. Get rid of a problem for a creative solution. Win-win. Yeah, fair play. That's a fair point. Red says, Sancho went from playing with the under-18s to playing in the Champions League final. You're right, mate, but nobody wants him still. Nobody wants him for £40 million. There's a reason for that. Just because he played in the Champions League, right? Why isn't nobody buying him? Answer me that. People say, oh, Sancho's done amazing at Dortmund. He didn't do amazing. His goals and assist tally since he joined in January was the same as what Antony had since January. Let that sink in. And I would say 90% of people watching this video would say Antony needs to be sold. And Antony had the same amount of goals and assists in a harder league than what Jadon Sancho did. So he clearly isn't the player that people are hyping him up to be. He definitely had a lot of potential. He definitely had the world at his feet, but he threw it under the bus. He messed it up. Somebody says I'd take 25 million for Sancho. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. Somebody says Sancho's attitude stinks. He's a good lad, but his character is bad. Yeah, do you know what, right? I think the thing with Sancho is he is talented. I just think like you said, his mentality isn't, his head isn't in the right place. And maybe, him going back to London, obviously he was born in London, wasn't he? I think did he come through the Crystal Palace Youth Academy? I might have made that up. I think that's right. Anyway, he was definitely born in London. Maybe him going back to, he came through the Watford Youth Academy. But yeah, he born in London. Maybe him going back to somewhere like Arsenal would, I don't know. Maybe that would be better for him. I don't know. I'm purely speculating here. I'm trying to find a solution in my head, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Let's see what else people are saying. We've got over 850 people watching the show live now, which is absolutely amazing. Please smash a like on the video if you haven't already. We're only 20 likes away from 400, which is the target for today's show. And we are literally now about to hit 25,300. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please go and do that. The content is completely free, doesn't cost any money. I'm live at 8:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. every single day, so make sure you go and subscribe. Okay, let's move on to Matthijs de Ligt then, shall we? We haven't spoke about him yet. So the big news on Matthijs de Ligt is coming from Fabrizio Romano, and the headline is this. There's a few different bits of the story, right? Effectively, he said that Matthijs de Ligt has given the green light. He has agreed to join Manchester United, okay? He wants to come to the club. He's willing to take a pay decrease? I can't think of the word. A pay cut. He's willing to take a pay cut. He's currently on about 300 grand a week at Bayern Munich, but he's willing to accept around £200,000 a week at Manchester United, which is, I have no problem with whatsoever. That puts him in the kind of same wage bracket as Maguire and Martinez, who, let's be honest, de Ligt should be earning more than Maguire, so no problem with that. He wants to join. It'll be a 5-year contract. He's currently 24 years of age, so it'll be till he's 29. And Manchester United are apparently set to submit a £35 million bid with around £8 million in add-ons. And my understanding is that will be enough for Bayern Munich to accept the bid. So I would say that we're 99% going to be signing Matthijs de Ligt. Fabrizio Romano has said this morning there are currently no other clubs in talks for Matthijs de Ligt because the player's full focus is on joining Manchester United. That's what we want to hear, okay? I know there's some concern about Matthijs de Ligt. Some people say, oh, he's not good enough. I think he's good enough. I think Erik ten Hag will show the old Matthijs de Ligt, the Matthijs de Ligt we saw at Ajax when Erik ten Hag was there. And this is what we want. We want players who want to come to Manchester United. And Fabrizio has said that. The player's full focus is on Manchester United. He's not talking to any other clubs. He also says Matthijs de Ligt will not create an issue in the salary negotiation with Manchester United. The contract will not be a problem. So that's, again, really, really positive. It's a player who wants the move. It's a player who is willing to take less money to join Manchester United. He wants to play football. He wants to be part of the project, and he wants to be a starting centre-back for Manchester United. So that's really, really positive. I imagine we'll probably get confirmation on this deal. I hope in the next kind of 24 hours or so. Obviously, Netherlands winning last night against Romania might delay things. But yeah, I'm really happy about this. I think 34 million is an absolute bargain. So just to recap what Fabrizio said, he said Matthijs de Ligt has now given the green light to join Manchester United after direct conversations with his agent. He says personal terms are not an issue as his agent is only negotiating with Manchester United. Matthijs de Ligt wants to join Manchester United. He says it's now up to Manchester United and Bayern Munich to talk over the structure of the deal. There you go. But also, just on a side note of that, this is coming from someone else. This is coming from Chris Wheeler. Chris Wheeler is suggesting that Manchester United are going to go back in for Jarrad Branthwaite. He says that Manchester United want to sign both Matthijs de Ligt and Jarrad Branthwaite. Let's just deal with Matthijs de Ligt first. Let's get that one over the line. Maybe we go back in for Jarrad Branthwaite. I'm not too sure if we should. I think he's overpriced. I think he's probably overrated for the amount of money. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with both of those players. I would be very happy with de Ligt. I think he's quality. I do. So yeah, really, really happy about that one. He will be joining. I honestly would put this in the 99% camp. He's agreed wages. He's agreed length of the contract. He's agreed his role in the squad. Bayern Munich want to sell him. All that they need to agree now is the price. And my understanding is the price will be £43 million total package, 35 up front, £8 million in add-ons. Zero issues with that whatsoever. I think it's a very fair price. And I honestly can't wait to see Matthijs de Ligt and Lisandro Martinez. Go and watch some of the videos of Matthijs de Ligt. He has that same aura as Martinez. He has that, like, He's very aggressive in his play, but he's very passionate as well. And I think those two together could have a real bond. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I think it's a quality signing. So yeah, for the amount of money as well, you honestly couldn't complain. Somebody saying, I hope the Netherlands get knocked out of the Euros. Yeah, I was saying that yesterday. It's a bit mean, isn't it? But considering we're pretty much targeting only Netherlands players, it would be quite beneficial for us if, you know, the Netherlands got knocked out, which is a bit cruel, but oh well, you know. Okay, what else have we got planned for the show today? I've got a couple more stories to bring you before we wrap up the video. Lots and lots has happened on today's video, hasn't it? There is some breaking news, actually, that I wanted to bring you right now. And this is about Erik ten Hag. And this might upset some people. It might not upset some people, but it's a news show. This is coming out from Laurie Whitwell, who is, of course, a very reliable journalist, reports for The Athletic here in the UK. And he is reporting that Erik ten Hag will keep his transfer veto. Anybody who doesn't know what that means, it means that Erik ten Hag will have, maybe not the final say, but will be able to either... Let me just get the definition of veto, because I'm trying to explain it. But, okay, here we go. So veto means, this is the exact definition, the right to refuse to accept or allow, an official power or right to refuse to accept or allow something. For example, the president has the power of veto over any bill that comes around his desk. There you go. That's an example and an explanation. So in the case of Manchester United say, we want to sign, I don't know, Victor Osimhen. Erik ten Hag can then say either yes or no to that signing. I know a lot of people were quite upset about Erik ten Hag having this veto to begin with. I know quite a lot of people were saying, you know, he shouldn't have it. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Let's do a poll quickly before we end the video. So just to be clear, Erik ten Hag will keep his transfer veto. Should Erik ten Hag keep his transfer veto? Anybody watching back on repeat, obviously you can let me know in the comment section as well. It's a simple question. The news, I'll put it in the chat now so everybody can see where it's come from and everyone can kind of, you know, react to it live. Let me just put that in the chat for you. So yeah, the headline is Erik ten Hag will keep his transfer veto, and I want you to let me know, is that the correct decision? Do you think he should have the transfer veto or not? The thing is, right, I think it's easy to blame Erik ten Hag, but I think a lot of the bad signings have been because of John Murtough and Richard Arnold leaving things till last minute. Casemiro, £70 million. We only signed him because we lost the first 2 games of the season. Anthony for £100 million. We wanted him at the beginning of the window, but Manchester United refused to sign him. He was available for £30-40 million, and we signed him for 85. Like, yeah. This is obviously going to cause mixed opinion, but obviously let me know in the comment section, should Erik ten Hag keep his transfer veto? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on that one. It's a very mixed opinion today, actually, with that one, but yeah. Let me just double check if there's anything else I wanted to talk about quickly. I think we've covered everything. Give me 1 second. Let me just check. I want to make sure that I haven't missed anything out. We spoke about Zirkzee. Spoke about De Ligt. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we've covered everything. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me on the show this morning. It's been an absolutely incredible stream. Please do me one small favor on your way out. Hit the like button. Doesn't cost any money. It will really help the channel. It will really help more people to be shown this video. And make sure you subscribe as well. That would be very, very much appreciated. Obviously, this is all completely free content. It doesn't cost you any money. So if you do enjoy the content that you've seen today, your kind of thank you could be to like and subscribe. If you don't enjoy the content, then obviously don't do that. But if you do, make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell. If you subscribe, whenever I go live, you'll get a notification and you can get back involved in the chat. We always have a really great discussion here. There will be a video going out at 1 o'clock today. But then I'll be back live at 6 p.m. as well. So 1 p.m. for a pre-recorded video, bringing you all of the latest kind of news in between now and then. And then there'll also be a live video at 6, which will be more like this, where we have a chat and all the rest of it. Have a great day, everybody. Amazing stream again this morning. I will speak to you all live at 6 p.m. UK time this evening. Hopefully